So guys, I know guys, I owe you a video. So this is the video that I promised you on. So this video guys, here I will talk about dynamic accumulation. So I just want to talk about dynamic accumulation. So which is the normal AMD. No. So this is the normal AMD. So but then this time around, this AMD is like it's no longer, what is this? It's like it's no longer now it's like it's no longer horizontal, it's diagonal, hence I call it the dynamic accumulation. So guys, I'll say this again: if you're familiar with trend lines, you know like what we mean when it comes to dynamic. It's something that is, it's like it's diagonal, so dynamic support, dynamic resistance, something like that. So guys, now I just traded US, like the CHF CPI. So I traded the CHF CPI, and I decided, you know what, let me just do the video, because lastly I had a problem with my audio, so it's like my mic, so it was not that clear. So yeah, but then let me get started. So now what do I mean when I say dynamic accumulation? So dynamic accumulation, it's whereby we get something like this. So those who studied Falcon, I think, yeah, Falcon, or flags, let me just call it a flag. So it's something like this. So now the accumulation, it's now diagonal, it's no longer horizontal. So this is another pattern on the AMD strategy that I've been, like that I'm usually trading most of the times when I'm trading news events. So now it's no longer a horizontal, but it's now diagonal. So when it's diagonal, what happens is it's still the same, guys. It's still the same. This is the accumulation. So when it breaks out like this is what we call the manipulation. Then distribution when news are being released. So similarly to what happened here on the card CHF, so accumulation, manipulation, then distribution. So simple as that. So this is what I use when I want to predict news events, using what the AMD approach. So now this is more knowledge on that AMD strategy that I shared on YouTube. So now we also have this type 2 AMD. So I'm gonna share two things today: the dynamic and type 2 AMD. So type 2 AMD is where like we have something like this. So it's when we have something like this, we have our accumulation. So this is my accumulation. Then it started by clearing this, liquidity that was resting here. So before news release, it did something, it's like more like clearing also this liquidity that's resting here. So I remember I shared this pattern last year, guys. I shared this pattern last year on my Facebook page named Ideal Traders. So I shared this pattern last year, and I said this is type 2 AMD. So I'm just gonna use T2. So type 2 AMD. So it clears this liquidity and also clears this liquidity here before news release. So if it does something like this, then expect that the price is simply gonna be a buy in that case. So if it does something like this, maybe start by clearing the liquidity at the bottom, then coming for the liquidity, that is resting here, then it's gonna be a drop. So this is how you trade type 2 AMD. But for the dynamic one, then it's gonna be something like this. So now the accumulation is no longer horizontal but diagonal. So breakout, then it's gonna spike upwards like this when news are being released. So this is how I trade most events, and this is how I traded what we call this CHF CPI. So now guys, I just wanna it's like do some little bit of review. So I'm just gonna do some little bit of review So yesterday I traded this one, which was ISM. So on ISM, this is what I had. So I'm just gonna shift D. So on ISM, this is what I had. I had what? I had accumulation. So now this is my accumulation phase. Did what? It performed what? A breakout to the upside like this. So this is where I get what? The manipulation. So sometimes it reacts on this zone like this. So this is my manipulation, react on this zone like this. Then distribution when news are being released. So this is how I trade AMD. So I had my outlook on USD JPY, and this is how I analyzed USD JPY. So here, guys, I was simply testing it, with my fundamental mentorship students. So it's like we're trading what USD JPY and GBP USD. So USD JPY was simply forecasting what a drop. So, and I also said, guys, if you want to trade like this approach, you have to have what, like you have to at least analyze three pairs going upward, and you have to see what the same direction. So now, which was here, now the news event spiked, and I deposited what? I deposited €4, and it spiked more than 1:3. So it was close to 1:4. So those who say fundamentals are gambling, let me tell you something. You are crazy. You don't know what you're doing. So if you're saying fundamentals are gambling, then trading in general, all of it is gambling. So one thing you should know when it comes to trading fundamentals, you have to know how to manage risk. How do you manage risk on fundamentals? You have to open two accounts. So let me do this. You have to open two accounts. On the other account, it will be your storage fund. So I'm gonna call it T2. So it's gonna be your storage funds. So I'm gonna use SSF. And on the initial account, which is T1, you're gonna this is where you'll be doing all of your trading. So if you deposit $100 and you say I'm gonna risk $5 on each news event, then so if you're gonna it's like risk $5 on each event, so you're gonna put $95 on the other account, then transfer $5 on the other account, then simply leverage it. That's how you trade fundamentals, and trust me, you'll always make way more than 1:3. So there is a risk reward ratio. So why are you saying fundamentals are gambling? Which means you don't know how to trade them. So if you don't know how to trade fundamentals, then I understand. Better stick to technicals. Better stick to something you know. So, but then I'm just here, as I said, guys, on my first video, I'm just here to break the stereotype that says fundamentals are gambling. So, but then let's move. So now moving to this one. So I analyzed, remember I said I had what I'm seeing what a drop on the USD XXX. So now what happened is it simply played out very well, like accumulation, manipulation, then distribution. So this is how you trade AMD. So this strategy I shared it on my first video on my YouTube channel. So if you don't know how to trade fundamentals using this approach, then I highly recommend you go and watch that video. I explained everything in details. So now moving to this one. So guys, now we traded this CHF. So we traded this CHF. So today at half past, so I dropped the signal as I saw a buy on USD CHF, and there we had dynamic accumulation and also type 2 AMD, which is something that I want to talk about. So I also want to show you this again. So here also I deposited what, €5, and I made €30. So which is more like 1:6 reward, like 1:6 risk reward ratio. So it's like if you say fundamentals are gambling, then I'll say this again, you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to manage risk. So better stick to something that you know. So guys, now let me not waste time. Let me just dive in into the real chart. So I'm just gonna dive in into the real chart now. So here, this is what I have here now. I have what? I have this. So I'm just gonna do this. So I have this like this. So if I were to analyze this one on CAD CHF, this is what I had. I had this dynamic accumulation, a breakout to the downside like this, then a spike upwards like this. So now the accumulation, it's no longer what? It's no longer horizontal but diagonal. So this is my accumulation, manipulation, then distribution like this. So this is how, it's like I traded the card like the CHF CPI. And also I didn't only have that, I also had what? This type 2 AMD, a breakout on the upside, then it came downwards like this, then news were released at this point here like this. So it cleared this liquidity here and cleared this liquidity before news released, then it spiked around this area here. So this is what I had on a CAD CHF. And let us move to what? USD CHF. So let me undock it. So this is what I had also on USD CHF. I had a similar thing. So it's something like this. So I had this accumulation here. It cleared that liquidity at the upside, then it came back for this liquidity resting here. Then when news were released, it simply spiked upwards. And not only that, I had what? Dynamic accumulation like this. So which is accumulation, manipulation, then distribution to the upside, something like this. So this is how you trade, dynamic accumulation. And also this is how you trade type 2 AMD. So if you pay attention, I analyzed CAD CHF, I saw the same direction. I also analyzed USD CHF and I saw the same direction. So now let me try on moving to CHF JPY and see what CHF JPY had for me. So CHF JPY had a different pattern, which is I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm simply going to talk about this one here. So it had what? Only dynamic, I mean type 2 AMD. So sorry about that. We had what? Type 2 AMD here like this. So we had liquidity here and liquidity here. Look what it did. It started by clearing liquidity that was resting below here, which is those traders who are trying to push the price up high there were simply, like they were simply taken out. So they were liquidated. Then later it come back for what? Those sellers there. So they got liquidated as well. And when news were being released, it simply dropped like this. So if you pay attention, CHF JPY was showing a sell and USD CHF and CAD CHF was showing what? A buy. So now let us move to what? AUD CHF and see what AUD CHF had for us. So AUD CHF, it has given us what? This nice pattern here, this dynamic accumulation, like this range that is diagonal like this. So this is my accumulation, manipulation, then distribution. So AUDCHF was also what? Projecting what? A buy. So now let us move to what is this one? GPPCHF. So GPPCHF, same thing guys, same thing. We had what? The dynamic accumulation. So now our what is this? Our accumulation is no longer horizontal but diagonal. So the range is now diagonal. So performed like a breakout, Then when news were released, it simply spiked upward. So it's accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So if I were to explain this one, so people be like, okay, this is a breakout. So it's a retest. So let us sell. So it's a breakout and a retest. So let us sell. Or those breakout traders would be like, okay, it's a breakout, so definitely it's gonna be a drop, only to find out they will get liquidated. So they got manipulated, hence being called the manipulation phase. And when news are being released, it's called what? The distribution phase. And when it's still ranging, whether diagonally or horizontally, then that's when we call it what? The accumulation phase. It's simply accumulating contracts, trying to see which side has the majority. Those buyers here, or I mean those sellers here at this dynamic resistance, or those buyers here at this dynamic support. Because if you started by trading trend line like strategy, you are being told you have to buy here, you have to buy here, you have to buy here, and you have to buy here. But when you buy here, you got what? Liquidated, which is manipulation. So you got manipulated. So guys, this is how I trade, fundamentals. And it's like, I think this is gonna be my last video talking about this approach. I gave you guys my knowledge for free, so if you want more knowledge on like how to trade fundamentals, more patterns, then like just simply keep on following, just subscribe on my YouTube channel, like, and simply wait for me. Maybe one day when I feel good, then I simply drop, maybe all of my approach for free, guys. But then I gave you the knowledge, on how to trade fundamentals, and it's all up to you whether how you're gonna use it. But trust me, guys, just go and backtest this, backtest until you feel confident in trading it. Just backtest until you feel confident on trading it, and yeah, and just make money, man. So this is it for today, guys, and I hope you're gonna find this video educational. So this is it. Peace from the ideal traders, guys.